Hey guys, I'd like to welcome on Ross Tucker, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. You can find him on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? I feel like I haven't seen you in a couple years. How's everything going?
Yes, sir. Everything is so great, and I appreciate you sparing some time here today to talk about this amazing Super Bowl matchup that we have coming straight ahead of us in 2 weeks.
Of course, man. You look old, man. You look like you're getting old. How old are you now?
I'm 16. I'm turning 17 in a few months.
Nice. I love it, dude. I love it. Great to see you again. Thanks for having me. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. So how do you think that having a second year quarterback versus a veteran quarterback is gonna affect this matchup?
Well, I will say this, even though he's only a second year guy, I feel like Brock Purdy has stepped up big late in these important playoff games the last couple of weeks. You know what I mean? Like he now already has 4 playoff wins. I mean, that's a lot more than some guys have in their entire career. So I think that's pretty impressive for Brock Purdy. And he's played his best the last drive against the Packers, the second half against the Lions. I mean, he's shown that even though it's only his second year, that he can get the job done in some of those moments. As for Mahomes, I mean, I don't know what to say about the guy anymore. He's ridiculous. You know, Gio, I was teammates with Tom Brady, and I think he's the best of all time and certainly has the best career of all time. But here we are already. Patrick Mahomes at age 28's like further along than Brady was at this age. Now he's got to win it. He's got to win this one. But if he does, then he'll be ahead of the pace of what Brady was, which obviously is super duper impressive. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I have a betting podcast. It's called the Even Money Betting Podcast. And I don't know if you follow it or not, but the 49ers are favored. And I just don't get it, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like, the Chiefs were clearly, I feel like, the better team in all 3 of their playoff games against the Dolphins, at Buffalo, at Baltimore, which is really impressive. Meanwhile, on the flip side, you know, you've got obviously the Niners who, I mean, I could point to like 6 plays where if the ball went the other way, the Packers would have beat them. Obviously, the Lions were dominating them in the first half last week and then sort of had an epic meltdown, unfortunately for them. But in my mind, the Chiefs have clearly been better in the playoffs. And then even if it's a close game, I'll be taking Andy Reid, our guy, and Patrick Mahomes over Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. So I don't get it. I don't get why the Niners are favored at all.
Yeah, man. I don't understand that either. I mean, just Patrick Mahomes' ability to extend plays just always surprises me. I know we saw it against Baltimore, just rolling out of the pocket, waiting for a play to develop, and gets it to Kelsey as he gets swept off his feet. The guy is willing to put his body on the line to win some games. So I'm super excited. You know, obviously 2 great offenses, but also 2 great defenses. So this matchup is just going to be awesome. You know, we saw this exact matchup 4 years ago, and obviously the Chiefs came out on top. So I wanted to know, do you think that that's going to get in the 49ers' head, or do you think it's going to be extra confidence for them?
I think it's extra motivation. You know, these guys, the guys that were on that team, like Kyle Juszczyk at fullback and George Kittle at tight end, Debo Samuel, they desperately want to win one, right? And the Chiefs won last year, which is super impressive. We don't like to talk about that, obviously, because it was against our birds, which, by the way, it just makes what the Chiefs are doing even more impressive. I thought the Eagles were the best team in the NFL last year. So the Chiefs beat them. I thought the Ravens were the best team this year. So 2 years in a row, I'm not sure the Chiefs were the best team, but they beat the best team, and that's what you got to do. So I think that the Niners should be unbelievably motivated to try to knock off the Chiefs and get the first Super Bowl win for all those guys. It'd be great for all those guys if they can do it. Meanwhile, for the Chiefs, I just think they have so much confidence. You know, I mentioned that I was teammates with Tom Brady for a little bit. You know, when you have a quarterback like a Brady or Mahomes, you just expect to win. You just assume you're going to win the game because you've got the guy. You've got the guy that, can play at a high level and has done it over and over again in those situations. So we'll see if the motivation for the Niners can be better than the confidence that the Chiefs have because of their playoff pedigree and having Patrick Mahomes.
100%. So obviously the Chiefs have been in more scenarios like this than the 49ers. If you're Kyle Shanahan, what are you preaching to this team right now?
I think you're preaching that, hey, we're winning, guys, and we're still not even playing our best football, right? Like that's a pretty good sign that you're a really good team if you're winning playoff games, even though you're not playing your best. What they need to do is play the way they did in the second half against the Lions for an entire game. Now, the Lions certainly contributed to that with the drops and the fumble and that crazy interception off of Vildor's face mask that was like a one out of a million type of play. But I wonder if the Niners are starting to feel like they're sort of a team of destiny and it's their year based on these. It's a 2-week layoff, so there's a lot of time in between. The Niners clearly have a very talented team. I thought for a bunch of the year, I thought maybe they were the best team until Baltimore took it to them. But we shall see. I think Kyle Shanahan has a lot of confidence in this team.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a guy like Brock Purdy, who's just an absolute stud coming into the NFL and playing great football like he has been, I'd have as much confidence as he has. But obviously, the past few weeks we've seen Travis Kelce kind of lock in. He hasn't had the best season, but especially last week, we saw that kind of old Travis Kelce of being the best tight end in the league. And it's kind of up in the air right now if we're gonna get that Travis Kelce or if we're gonna get earlier in the season Travis Kelce. So what do you think changes for the Chiefs if they have to rely on somebody else other than Kelce?
Yo, you know what? There's Travis Kelce. I don't think it's up for debate. He's gonna ball out in the Super Bowl. I just don't think it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering whether or not during the season it was he lost a step or if he was just banged up. And maybe he has lost a little bit, but boy, it's still plenty good enough. I mean, that Ravens performance was absolutely epic, and they needed every one of them to win that game. So I tend to think that he's a guy that's going to show up in the Super Bowl. Seems like he always does and make a bunch of plays. You can almost count on that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you got to fight for your right to party, right?
That's his line. That's for sure.
Yes, sir. Ross, do you have any ideas for Valentine's Day coming up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. I'm glad you brought that up, Gio. And it's because I asked you to bring it up. It's because it's my buddy's company and you got to take care of your boys, right? It's funny. I've been married almost 20 years, man. And, for Valentine's Day, you start to think about, all right, like, should I send her flowers or take her out to dinner or whatever? You got to change it up sometimes, man. You got to do something unique or different. This company is called myfrontpagestory.com. It's amazing. You should get one for your mom for Mother's Day. In fact, I'll give you one for your mom for Mother's Day. Let me reach out to me via DM. I'll get you one for your mom for Mother's Day. Hopefully she's not watching and won't be a secret anymore. But you talk to one of their writers, Gio, for 10 minutes. You tell them how great your significant other is, or maybe in your case, your mom. They write this awesome story, dude. It looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper. In fact, look, I got one for the people watching. That's what it looks like. It's framed, it's beautiful, and it's all about the person you're giving it to. So for me, it'd be my wife, for you, maybe your mom, and for anybody listening, can be for whoever they want. It's just awesome. Like to be able to give it to them and say, I want to do something special or unique for you. I wanted to have a story written about how amazing you are and everything you've done for me. Like, dude, they cry almost every time. It is perfect. Whether it's Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or whatever, it's called myfrontpagestory.com. Myfrontpagestory.com.
You know, man, I love giving out gifts, and that just seems like the absolute perfect gift. So I appreciate you, giving a shout out on my show to that because, Valentine's Day coming up. I know a lot of people who listen are married, so definitely go check them out. Ross, I got one more question for you. So over a year ago, I started doing a anti-bullying campaign. It's meant so much to me because when I was younger, I got bullied pretty bad, and I want to use my outlet as a outlet for good and for kids to listen in and not feel like the outcast. So, Ross, in your opinion, how can we change bullying for the youth to stop it?
Boy, that is such a great question. And believe it or not, even when I was a player, Gio, I did a lot of speaking engagements and I still do, and I love doing them. But even back then in 2000 to 2008, a lot of schools asked me to address bullying. It has never gone away. And the reality is, the people that bully others are people that don't feel good about themselves. I was always the kid in school that stuck up for the kids that were being bullied. You only put other people down if you don't feel good about who you are. You put them down to try to make you feel better about yourself. Well, think about that. If you need to put somebody else down to feel better about yourself, you're the problem. And I encourage people not to be friends with bullies and to tell bullies not to do it. Listen, if your friend is the type of person that mocks or makes fun of others or puts other people down to make them feel better, then they're not really cool. Are you sure you want that to be your friend? So I think, as much as anything, I think honestly, getting people like me into schools, people like you, to be able to deliver the message and let them know. Because a lot of times when people are bullying, it's because they're afraid that they're going to be the one that people make fun of. And it's like they want to make fun of somebody else first. So it's not them. It all comes from insecurity, because confident people, secure people don't make fun of others. They build people up. And so it's a really good question. I'm so glad that you're using your platform to try to get the message out. I would love to help in any way.
Thank you very much, Ross, and thanks for talking football with me. I appreciate you coming on today.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Anytime, buddy. You know that. So proud of you in every way. And I'm glad the show's going great. I got to get you on my show again soon. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.